The NYPD and the FBI notified the powers that be in Washington, D.C. about the threat of January 6th, and even the now former chief of the U.S. Capitol Police says that his requests at backup were denied by people above him. Stick by and watch this episode of Guns and Gadgets. I want to start by thanking Blackout Coffee, the sponsor of today's video. Today is Monday, the Monday Morning Grind, and you can check out Blackout Coffee by the link down below, blackoutcoffee.com/GNG. Blackout Coffee sends coffee to our troops overseas. They donate money to help stop veteran suicide. They are pro-America. They are pro-2A. Please check them out. Link is down below. Now let's get back to today's video. Hey everybody, welcome back to Guns and Gadgets, your premier source for Second Amendment news. Thank you for your time. If you are looking for Second Amendment news, this is where you will find it here on Guns and Gadgets. I hope that you consider subscribing to stay in the know. And please, while you're at it, subscribe to my backup channel just in case with everything going on. And the link for that is down below in the description, along with every other place that I post. So for all those people saying you should post here, check down below. Chances are I already do. So let's jump into what happened on the 6th and what's come out now related to the response or the ability of security forces to maintain a perimeter and what they knew and when they knew it. So first off, let's go to Nancy Pelosi. She had made a quote that the event was due to a failure of leadership at the top of the Capitol Police, directing her comment toward the then Chief of Police, Stephen Sund. The Capitol Police Union also called for an immediate change of leadership following what took place on the afternoon of January 6th. But what's come out now, as the now former chief who has resigned has done his first interview, is that he actually did ask for increased security forces 2 days in advance, and I believe 5 times total his requests were rebuffed. So in this interview with the Washington Post, which I will link down below, Sund, the ex-chief of police, said that he began to worry about the size of the expected crowds and the demonstrations on Monday, January 4th. Sund said, according to the intelligence that they had, they knew that this crowd was going to be much bigger than expected. While there was intelligence of the potential for some violent altercations, he said he didn't have any specifics saying that there was a plan to seize the Capitol. Now, like I said, the FBI and NYPD, it's come out that they have warned the powers that be about the threats that were out there. And Sund's quote related to that were, you see rhetoric on social media. We had seen that many times before. People say a lot of things online. So it seems like that threat wasn't really taken serious. Now, knowing that the expected crowds were going to be much larger, Sund contacted the House Sergeant at Arms Paul Irving, asking him to call the National Guard for increased presence and or backup, and he was told by the Sergeant at Arms that he didn't like the optics of that. Sund then reached out to Michael Irving, who is the Senate Sergeant at Arms, who also rebuffed the request for National Guard backup, and then asked Sund to reach out to his contacts at the National Guard, asking them to, quote, lean forward and be ready should the call for backup come. So we'll set the stage. The chief of the Capitol Police, who was formerly the head of the Special Operations Division in the DC Metro Police before he came to the Capitol PD, he realized that the intelligence said there was going to be a lot more people there. He reached out to the people he's supposed to above him, the Sergeant at Arms in the Senate and the House, asked for increased backup with the National Guard, and was rebuffed by both of them. And if you recall the videos I've done, I said the first thing I noticed was for a crowd that was there, that was that big, the security presence was not adequate. Chief Sund then said that 2 days later, Wednesday, the day of the event on the 6th, he had to plead for help 5 more times from the people above him, the powers that be, while his troops were already engaged with the people who were coming into the Capitol. Sund said he had 1,400 Capitol police officers on duty, and that in the face of a crowd that big, the police were overcome very quickly. So on Monday, after talking to both Sergeant at Arms On the way home, then Chief Sund reached out to Major General William Walker, who was the head of the D.C. National Guard, and asked him, how long would it take you to respond should we need your backup? And the Major General said they should be able to get about 125 people there relatively quickly. Sund also reached out to the D.C. Metro Police Chief Robert Conti, and he was told that should you need it, we will back you up. And then the next day, Tuesday, Sund briefed the two sergeant-at-arms again, and both Irving and Stenger said that potential backup seemed enough to them. So a little more of the timeline. Just before noon on Wednesday, which is January 6th, the day of the event, then Chief Sund was monitoring the crowd at the speech of Donald Trump that was down by the ellipse, and he was called away from that because it was reported that there were 2 pipe bombs in the vicinity of the U.S. Capitol. Ex-Chief Sund now believes that those 2 pipe bombs were there as an intentional effort to draw officers away from the Capitol as they were responding to the pipe bombs. Sund's timeline continues at approximately 12:40 is when the first wave of protesters arrived at the U.S. Capitol. And in Sund's own words, quote, as soon as they hit the fence line, the fight was on. Violent confrontations from the start. They came with riot helmets, gas masks, shields, pepper spray, fireworks, climbing gear, explosives, metal pipes, and baseball bats. I've never seen anything like it in 30 years of events in Washington. Then, ex-Chief Sund, about 1 o'clock, he said he realized that things weren't going well, so he reached out to D.C. Metro Police Chief Conti, and 100 officers were sent to the scene as backup. And most of that backup arrived within 10 minutes. But a lot of things can happen in 10 minutes. At 1:09, Sund says he called Irving and Stenger again, the 2 sergeant-at-arms, in the House and the Senate, and told them it was time to call in the National Guard, and both men said they would run it up the chain and get back to him. Minutes later, aides were summoned to Stenger's office where he briefed them on what was going on, and the aides became enraged, saying, why are you even talking to us? You have the power to call in the National Guard. They should already be here. Ex-Chief Sund then said he called on Irving 2 more times and Stenger 1 more time to check on the progress, and at 1:50, 9 minutes before the Capitol was breached, he then called on Major General Walker to tell him to be prepared to bring in the Guard. At 2:10, a full hour and 1 minute after the request from the former Chief Sund to the Sergeant-at-Arms for backup from the National Guard, he received his formal approval over an hour later. I'm going to look down below here on the screen so I can get the rest of this stuff right because the timeline is important. At 2:26, Sund joined a conference call organized by DC's Homeland Security Director, Chris Rodriguez. Among those on the screen for the Zoom call, I guess, were the district's police chief, the mayor, and Major General Walker. Unlike elsewhere in the country, the D.C. Guard does not report to a governor because there is no governor in Washington, D.C., but they report to the president. So Major General Walker then patched in the office of the Secretary of the Army, noting that they would need the permission and the approval of the Pentagon before sending troops to the Capitol. And they received some pushback from the Pentagon. The Pentagon said, according to Sund, said that they would prefer to have the Guard soldiers take up positions around Washington, D.C. That would then free up the D.C. PD to respond to the Capitol for assistance. Again, the issue of optics came into play here. You already have people in the U.S. Capitol who are taking podiums and hard drives and whatever else happened in there. And also note that some people had already died at this point, including Ashley Babbitt, who was shot in the neck, and a couple others died as of health-related issues. But there was concern from the Army of what it would look like, the optics of having armed military personnel on the grounds of the Capitol. On that call, the D.C. Chief Conti was pleading with everybody on the call to send the troops to the Capitol instead of somewhere else around the city because the Capitol needed help immediately. At 3:45 now, several hours after the initial request for backup was made, Stenger, the Senate Sergeant-at-Arms, told Sund that he was going to reach out to Senate Leader Mitch McConnell to try to get assistance in bringing the National Guard in to help. Sund says he never learned the response of that request. And according to a timeline put out by the Department of Defense on Friday, Miller verbally authorized the activation of the entire DC Guard at 3:04 p.m. And it would take more than 2 hours for most of those civilian soldiers to leave their jobs and homes, head to the DC Armory, pick up gear, and make the scene. And one of the last remarks by former Chief Sund about this whole issue is, "This is the people's house. Congress members have always prided themselves on having an open campus, but now I'm not sure that will continue to be defensible." So he's kind of giving us a little glimpse into what's probably going to happen. The U.S. Capitol will probably be a secured facility now, the grounds as well. And we see that already. If you follow me on my Instagram and my Facebook, two platforms that are still up, I have shown you videos from people in DC where there is an increased presence by the National Guard at the Capitol, at national monuments, as well as federal buildings. So there we have from an interview with the former chief detailing the numerous amount of requests that he made for help, and he was rebuffed every step of the way until the very end, when most of the issues that took place and the deaths that had happened, they've already occurred, and it was far too late once he was approved for assistance. I think this just shows how inadequate the leaders are in positions in DC. I just thought I'd give you this quick rundown to let you know what happened as far as the security requests, the days leading up to the 6th, as well as the multiple requests during the event and the fallout after the event. And what is interesting is that you're not really hearing a lot of this. So I will have a link down below to this interview, to this article, so that you can read it on your own. But let me know what you think about this down below. What do you think in the days following this? What are your thoughts? And I'm sure there are a lot of different angles at which people believe happened or what they foresee happening. This will probably be a rough couple of weeks here leading up to Joe Biden's inauguration day, if that takes place at all. I don't know if they're going to allow that to happen now. It might be done virtually. Who knows? So I look forward to hearing your response if you're into the Second Amendment or directly related freedom news that are happening at the moment. This is where you'll find it here on Guns and Gadgets. Please continue to share this video. Please continue to share this channel. The numbers dropped over 50% overnight last week, and I'm pretty sure it's not of my doing, but you never know. So please hit the subscribe button. Please thumbs up the video to destroy the anti-gun algorithm here on the Google and YouTube, and share it with everybody you know. Thank you very much for your time. I look forward to seeing you on the next one. There definitely will be a next one. And until then, be safe, stay vigilant, and carry a weapon. Keep them clean, keep them oiled. You never know. Take care.